A peek at the early quarterback rankings for 2024. Up next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. All right, Jamey Eisenberg, let's take a look at your QB rankings. There's a story on the website with everyone's top 12 at the quarterback position. I'm going to just pick some things out here. You are too high on Brock Purdy. He doesn't run the ball. He averaged 9.6 yards per attempt. That is insane. It is one of the highest I've ever seen. The last three guys who were even in that world were Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Tannehill, and Matt Ryan, everyone with a Ryan in their name, and they did not come close to that the following year. You have him 7th ahead of Stroud, ahead of Love, ahead of Fields. You're too high on Brock Purdy.
It's really just buying into the weapons he has around him and the coach that he has calling plays for him. Very good offensive line as well. So assuming that they come through the playoffs without any significant injuries, and for the most part, the cast of characters is brought back, I think Brock Purdy in this situation, in this, environment has just proven to be a very successful fantasy quarterback. And so while he might not have the same upside as, let's say, a Joe Burrow or some of the running quarterbacks like a Anthony Richardson or Justin Fields or Kyler Murray, I think he's, certainly proven that he can give you 30 points. He's done that at home more times than on the road. But love the setup for him just as a safe number one fantasy quarterback that can help you win weeks and be a guy that continues to improve in his third season.
All right, you're too low on Kyler Murray. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's not in your top 12, probably just outside your top 12. I think he was something like QB 11 per game this year, coming off a torn ACL with awful wide receivers. I mean, Marquise Brown basically out the entire time and not good when he was there. So I think it's safe to say they're going to upgrade. They have a great chance to get Marvin Harrison. And Kyler's a guy who's been, for about half a season before getting hurt, he's been the number one quarterback in fantasy. He's been absolutely incredible at times. So I would say, I think I have him 7th, Jamey. So you have him, 13, Kyler?
13, yeah. No, I agree. We talked about this on the full length episode on Thursday, that he's one that I regret not having in my top 12. It's just a very loaded position. And like you said, he does have a lot of upside. So if they do add a wide receiver, Marquise Brown is a free agent. Clearly they need to find some help there, because while Trey McBride, I think, is going to be a superstar, and we'll see what Michael Wilson, has to offer as most likely the second receiver there. And we'll see what they do with Rondale Moore and, Greg Dortch and those guys. But they need to add some weapons around Kyler. And if that happens, then he will easily be in my top 12 and can certainly climb to as high as number 7. So a lot to love about Kyler. In the draft that we did on earlier this week, he went as the 13th quarterback off the board, I think, or no, 14th. I think Tua went ahead of him. And he was one of the guys I was eyeballing as I waited for a quarterback, didn't draft one until round 11. So yes, love the upside for Kyler Murray.
All right, you have Mahomes 4th. You go Allen, Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Could you see yourself moving him down? Because he was QB 10 or something per game, QB 8
if
per
Kelsey
game?
retires and they go with another rookie receiver, or they don't get, let's say, one of the prize potential free agents of varying degrees, I'm just throwing names out, of Mike Evans or Michael Pittman or T Higgins or any of the guys that have the chance to get free, and it's Rashee Rice and MVS, or let's say it's a Gabe Davis, for example, a second tier receiver that's going to be out there, or third tier, depending how you view him, then yes, absolutely Mahomes could be in trouble, because we saw what he was with a shell of Travis Kelce, who didn't get to 1,000 yards and scored, I think, 6 touchdowns. Rice was great in the second half of the season, but he's not the type of guy that's going to necessarily elevate Mahomes back to being better than those guys. And, the two that I have behind Mahomes right now, like you said, I have him 4th. Dak Prescott was amazing in the second half of the season. And, I know he averaged 24 points per game, but if you take his numbers in the second half of the season, it was closer to 28. And then you look at Joe Burrow, who has the chance to, go ballistic if he's healthy with his receiving core, on sort of a revenge tour. Those two guys could have certainly a higher ceiling. Now, I don't think I'll put them if my rankings hold, which they won't, because it's January.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could see him going behind those caliber of quarterbacks as much as Kyler may climb, or where I have Purdy and Stroud and Love and those guys as 7, 8, 9 right now. No, he won't fall farther than that. But let's be fair. The farther Mahomes falls, the much better value that he becomes, because what he's capable of doing, even with the potential scale down receiving core.
I was daydreaming actually about him falling in the draft and people hating on him because he doesn't have great weapons, and him being on every one of my teams. So,
yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for Fantasy Football Today in 5. If you want to hear more about this discussion, we talked about it in depth on the full-length Fantasy Football Today episode on Thursday. Thanks a lot for watching and listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week on Tuesday after MLK. See ya.